Welcome to the Evangelism Podcast. I'm Daniel King and I'm excited about telling people about Jesus. Today I have a very special guest. His name is Bryan Citrin and he is a marketing genius. He is a published author with Forbes.com, one of the premier business websites in the world. He has been involved in ministry for many, many years, but he also happens to be a marketing genius. And so his specialty is entrepreneurship and doing online marketing. Bryan, thank you so much for being with me today.
Thanks so much, Daniel. Excited to be here.
So tell me a little bit about why marketing is important for ministries.
Marketing is important for ministries because the gospel is free, but the ministry costs money. And you have to have a way to let people know about your ministry, and you have to let them know in relevant manners how things are going with your ministry. And so it's crucial that you leverage the latest strategies and tools to fundraise, let your donors know what's been happening, etc. The same way you see big ministries fundraising, or you see like political campaigns fundraising, the same way your ministry should leverage those tools to make your stuff known, because the more resources you have coming in, the bigger impact you can make around the world for the gospel.
Now, fundraising has really changed over the years. I remember hearing my dad tell stories about working for Oral Roberts. And back in the day, Oral Roberts would send out literally millions of letters, and my dad would help to stuff the letters and do direct mail marketing. But now a lot of the funds that ministries are able to raise have moved from getting a letter in the mail, which people tend to look at it and they throw it in the trash can, to now a lot of the marketing is happening online, and people are sharing their stories online. They're communicating with people online through their cell phones. Everyone carries a cell phone with them everywhere that they go. And so a lot of the ministries that are really effective at raising money now have moved a lot of their fundraising from the physical realm into the digital realm. And so, Bryan, you've been very involved in the digital realm as an entrepreneur, as a businessman. What are some of the things that you've done in the digital realm to help build businesses?
Hey, that's a great question. I first want to say I'm in the Forbes Agency Council, so I'm looked at as an expert, not just for ministries, but businesses. Business leaders look to me as an expert in the marketing agency arena for like online marketing.
And so let's talk a little bit about your credentials for a second here. When several years ago, I remember you showing me a website called ClickFunnels. And with ClickFunnels, you design a website that people go, they put in their information, and then they start receiving emails and different ways of reaching out to people. And the goal is to sell a product, and then maybe sell another product. First you sell like maybe a $7 digital download, and then later you say we also have this $100 video that has some more information, and then you say, and by the way, we have a $1,000 coaching program that you can get in on. And then if you get in on that, then maybe there's a $10,000 super duper conference that you can go to. And so that's why it's called a ClickFunnel, because it's this funnel that funnels people through from first impressions all the way down to becoming an investor, basically, in whatever it is that the person's selling. So I remember you showing that to me, and then you actually got in the 2 Comma Club with ClickFunnels, which this is a really big deal in the digital marketing world. What's the 2 Comma Club?
2 Comma Club means that my company has made 2 commas, or over $1 million, from a single sales funnel.
And you've done that helping businesses. This was not ministry related. You were doing it more in the business realm. Tell me a little bit about what type of business you were involved in.
Sure. So I own chiropracticadvertising.com, and both my parents and my uncle are chiropractors. So we've been focusing in the healthcare niche, and we've been creating online marketing campaigns for these chiropractors and charging them a lot of money to build out these whole campaigns where we run their ads online targeting new patients. We create online websites for them, landing pages. We create online scheduling, and a bunch of back-end text automation, voicemail automation, email automation, all this stuff, all in the healthcare space.
Now, why do chiropractors pay you a lot of money?
Chiropractors pay me a lot of money because I make them a lot of money.
So they're not just paying you because they like you. You are making them money with these systems. You are helping them to get more customers, to make more money in their business, and so it's worthwhile. They give you $1, they get back $5 or $10.
I remember one chiropractor. He told me that I made him an additional $40,000+ in his first 40 days. Over half that was paid up front. He made me a testimonial video 6 months later saying that he made over $175,000, and of that, over $100,000 was paid up front.
I think this is so valuable because ministries need money, and they can use the digital space in order to do fundraising. And you've been very successful in helping businesses, but you also have a huge heart for ministry. So you've spent a lot of time as a missionary to the campus of UCLA over in California. You've also gone on a bunch of mission trips to Haiti, to Vietnam. And so you are very much called to be a minister, and you've seen ways that ministries can adapt this technology that you've learned about for the ministry. Tell me about some of those ways that people can use the technology.
Sure. Everybody should have a database of your donors and your potential donors. Every single ministry needs to have a database. That's your most valuable asset. Names, numbers, and emails of people that believe in you, that either are getting ministry updates, maybe they're getting devotionals, or maybe they're you're reaching out to them for solicitation for mission trips. So you need to have that database, but you need to be actively engaging that list. So you need to be sending out emails to this list, of course. And that's, a lot of people are sending out emails, but what a lot of people are not doing is they're not sending out text messages. And the problem is a lot of emails, they go to spam filters, but there's actually a ways to send out mass text messages at scale, and it makes it look like you're personally texting them, but really it's like a VIP ministry line that you can text them. And then when they respond, you can have it go to your cell phone automatically and text back and forth with this private VIP line through our app, or from the app on the mobile desktop or on the phone, and to really scale out your ability to cultivate relationships.
Okay, so this is not just one solution. This is a bunch of different things that ministries should be doing. So in that paragraph that you mentioned there, you mentioned email marketing. You mentioned having a database with all the different names and addresses and emails and phone numbers of the donors. You mentioned texting, and you mentioned apps. Now, I know a lot of different resources are available out there, and sometimes you could go to 5 or 6 different companies to figure out how to do all this. So one company would do funnels, and then another company would do an email, and another company would do text messages. But you've been developing a resource that brings all of these different applications together into one place.
Absolutely. So when I first started my digital marketing company, you'd mentioned ClickFunnels. I used ClickFunnels. I used 5 or 6 or 7 other programs. I had to have a program for call tracking. I had to have a program for automated two-way texting. I had to have a program for making outbound calls. I had to have a program that connected things together. I had to have a program for sending emails. I think I mentioned funnels already. I had to have a program for sending voicemail drops to people. I had to have all these different things connected, and then it was and another software to be the glue, connect everything together. You had to have another program for online forums. It was crazy, and it was just everything.
And every one of those different programs costs you X number of dollars a month.
Mm-hmm.
And you're paying every month.
And I'm paying for all this software to make it all work together. But now, I have this software, and I actually just wrote an article on Forbes about this. About how you can leverage all this software, and how you can even consolidate software. So I recently wrote this article in the beginning of December. It got published. It says 4 important habits every marketing entrepreneur should implement when leveraging software. And one of the things we talk about is try to consolidate all your software into one spot so it's easy. And so we've actually consolidated all of the software into one spot and created a simple solution that ministries can use to cultivate and deepen relationships with their donors, so they can not only get prayer requests out to their donors, but are also able to give them ministry updates, etc.
So tell me what the name of your software is.
The name of the software is Leadflows.com.
So what does that mean? What's a lead flow?
A lead flow is a term that I came up with, and I like to say that you don't need a funnel, you need a lead flow. And what I like to say is it's the entire process somebody goes through as you cultivate and nurture that individual, from the time you first meet them to the time whenever they're purchasing your services, to the time when you're actually cultivating that relationship into like higher levels of giving, higher levels of like engagement with your organization, with your ministry or business.
So is this something that only big ministries could use, or is this something that someone who's called to go as a missionary to Africa, that they would be able to use to raise money?
Every ministry needs to use this, and I think that even smaller ministries need to use it even more because they have less resources and less staff to manually do these actions. Because what Leadflows does is it does a lot of things that once before maybe they had a dedicated staff member doing all these individual tasks, but this can literally automate the whole process. That makes it easier for the person who's over in Africa to engage with their donor base and engage with their prayer partners, etc.
Like, let's talk about sending out text messages. Like, if you were to be in Africa, and I've sent out text messages from Africa, it cost me like $1 a text or something to send out. But with Leadflows, what you could do is you could load up a text, and since it's in the cloud, you'd be able to access the website from Africa. You set it up to send out a text, and then instead of paying $1 a text from Africa, you'd only be paying a few cents per text here in America. And you could send that one text like, hey, check out this video from the crusade I did last night, and it would go out to all 150 of your friends, and they'd be able to watch a video of what you did.
Absolutely. And what's so exciting about it is you can utilize something called merge tags, and I'm sure you've seen it if you're not like familiar with marketing terms. You open up an email, it says, hi Daniel, I'm so excited that you're able to join us for whatever it is he's talking about, and you're addressing the person by name. So this software has the ability to send out this text and have these merge tags that you can customize a text message for each person that's getting it. So it could be like, hey Daniel, I'm in Africa right now, we this huge crusade, I'm checking this video I filmed for it. And literally they think that you're sending them the text message, but really, it says, hi Daniel, hi Brian, hi Steve, hi Mary, hi Sally, and
you're
whatever.
Personalizing it on a mass scale.
Yes, and there's other personalizations you can do with that as well, and you can be really micro in terms of how you actually personalize these text messages.
What are some other ways that you think ministries could use Leadflows?
One thing that's really valuable, especially if a minister is speaking, you can actually have like a text to subscribe. So for example, if you're speaking at a church, you could say, hey, text prayer to this phone number, and then we're going to send you this form where you can put in your prayer request. Or you could say, hey, I have this free book on X, Y, and Z, text this number, and we're going to send you this out. And so you can use that to generate leads. It can create websites. So like me and a friend of mine, we created a website that I showed you for this online conference we did on teaching entrepreneurship and kind of entrepreneurship mixed with ministry. And we built the whole thing on Leadflows. So we built the registration page on Leadflows, we built the shopping cart on Leadflows and everything. And we got over 300 people to register for this in a weekend using paid advertising. So you could literally use this to create like a registration form for a conference you're doing online, and then we utilize Leadflows to send out text messages and emails telling people whenever we're about to actually launch the Zoom. And I think the first, when we launched it, we had 85 people on there live. And so about 25% of the people who registered actually showed up live. And part of the reasons why we got so many people there live was we were able to text them and email them in real time when we were actually launching the Zoom with the link.
Okay, I'm a little skeptical, but I want to see if this really works. And so you said you've set up a way to demonstrate this in real time right now. And so if you will pull out your phone and text this number, text 918-265-3050 and text the word growth. So just write in the word growth and then text it to 918-265-3050. Bryan is going to send you, free of charge, links to some of the Forbes articles that he's written that will help you be better at fundraising. And then he's also going to send you information about leadflows.com. And so you'll get to see how the whole system works and how he uses it. So right now, 918-265-3050, text the word growth, and Bryan will basically put you as one of the leads in his flow, and you can get in the flow with Bryan.
Thanks so much, Daniel.
Thanks for being on the Evangelism Podcast. And I encourage you to think about digital marketing for your ministry. It's very important, and it will help you to do what God has called you to do in a greater way. Go ahead.
All the major ministries out there are actually running online advertising to raise money for their ministry. I mean, they're doing it. My COO, he actually used to run the online marketing for a very large ministry that you've probably heard of. I'm not going to mention names. They had he said he's managing a team of 80 people doing all this crazy aggressive fundraising online, managing hundreds of thousands of dollars because they're getting the return to fund their ministry. And so you don't have to have a ton of money to even leverage online marketing. You can start small, start slow, but once you learn different concepts and once you developed the ability to grow your list and utilize technology like Leadflows, you should totally be able to scale up your nonprofit, your ministry, to really fulfill the calling that God has for you.
Thank you so much for being on the podcast, Bryan.
Thanks.
Daniel King is on a mission to save 1 million souls a year, but he can't do it alone. Would you consider sowing a financial seed today? To give, please visit www.kingministries.com.